energy, defense, and transport. Those are the three areas that we invest in. And those are also the three areas that young people should invest their careers in. We want to talk about this in a context of investing, but when we say investing, it doesn't just mean the kind of money that a hedge fund invests. It's a broader concept of an idea that in life in general, it's just not worth spending your career, your money, your capital. And capital is just stored potential or a career stored in money or some sort of asset that can be exchanged for further labor or for other assets. So it's not worth pursuing any other area. And I want to use Pascal's wager. I'm going to explain what that is to explain how I think particularly young people today can use this to their advantage. Because even if let's say you're a teenager and you're not really sure what you want to do, which is fine. I think we shouldn't be obsessed with something that we want to invest our lives in when we're 15. I think that's a little too early. It takes time. Humans have not evolved fast enough to deal with their cognitive complexities. But it's okay to fool yourself into believing something. So it's very similar to Pascal's wager, which is a sort of probabilistic explanation for why it's worth believing in God. Not because God exists or doesn't matter. It's just a probability game, right? If God exists and you believe in God and you follow God's premises, you will end up in heaven. If God doesn't exist and you believe in God, then, whatever. You haven't lost much. The problem is, what if God exists and you don't believe? You miss out on a lot. And I think the same concept can be used for careers or money in general, investments. Like it's better to believe in something. Even if you have to fool yourself into believing something, it doesn't matter. Just obsess about something, believe in something, because in the end, it's going to pay out. Or if it doesn't, at least you had fun while believing in it. And if you can pick those three areas, then the chances are just much higher that you will actually end up doing something more useful with your life. And again, when we say career or investment in general just means invest capital into an area. And that capital can be in the form of dollars or gold or career or time to study something. It's all just, it's fungible. So energy, defense, and transport. Those are the three areas that humanity has always been obsessed about. They matter. Everything else doesn't matter. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's March 30th, 2026. This is Krim Delco. For the year, we're down 21%. The market's down 7%. We're underperforming by 14%. Unfortunately, the markets keep selling off because of the Iran war. And we are sitting sort of as sitting ducks here, being shut down by a mismanaged political situation, very similar to COVID. We believe that the Iran war and Israel's stirring up of this conflict is basically Trump's COVID 2.0. We're going to have to go through this now. But fundamentally, I think, and this is related to this episode, if you're investing in the right areas over time, you will generate wealth. And I think, again, energy, transport, and defense are the three areas. Like if you think about it, if I ask you what was really relevant during the 1500s when Columbus was gearing up to discover America, like, do you really care how people entertained themselves? Do you care how people did healthcare? Do you care how they, I don't know, what they consumed or, any of those sectors? Some of them didn't even exist. No, you didn't. But you absolutely cared about energy. You cared about transport, and you cared about defense. You will know what they did for defense. You will know what they did for transport. You will know what they did for energy. Take the 1900s, same thing. World War I, World War II. World War I arguably was driven by who owns more oil. energy has always been a driver. And I think as a young person, you want to be in those areas. Now, how you want to do it, whether you want to work as a roughneck in the energy industry in Texas or as a scientist working on nuclear energy, I mean, that's up to you. Of course, you have to play your strengths and your passions, but you want to be in those areas. You want to have a mission statement, which is something like, I want to deliver lower cost, higher value, higher safety, cleaner energy to the world. Like that's my goal. And I want to find a way to do that. And I need to learn the necessary, the necessary skills to do that. If transport pushes your button, then same thing. Lower cost transport, more safe, more fun, cleaner, more scalable. Robo-taxi, Tesla's robo-taxi is a good example. Cybercab, unsupervised FSD, those are systems that can allow for order of magnitude lower cost of transport and orders of magnitude more value. Defense is a necessity for humans ever since the East African plains. You got to be able to defend yourself against adversaries, whether they're animals or other humans or nature, and you got to find a way to protect yourself. And the best way to do this, in our opinion, here at Orange Capital Partners, is to deterrence, strength through deterrence, peace through deterrence. So build the strongest, unbeatable army. Also manage your internal political structure such that the strength cannot be misused. This is a very timely argument today. Like you want to be able to use this strength in a sort of checks and balance democratic way. So these are all important things. I think when it comes to investing money as a hedge fund manager, and the purpose of this podcast is to give people a sense for what it feels like to run a hedge fund. So we're always dealing with the same issue. Like our mission statement is to generate wealth by investing in fundamentally new concepts and engineering practices with large impact. This is our mission statement. This is the purpose of Orange Capital Partners. This is why we go to work. And in order to achieve that, we pick one of those three sectors. Typically, we're invested in all, by the way, they can overlap, of course. I mean, transport and energy are related. For example, self-driving electric cars are driven by battery technology, and battery technology, in order to be clean, has to be delivered through solar, for example, or nuclear. So there's overlaps, and but again, we've deliberately chosen not to invest in, a company that maximizes advertising clicks or something like that, which just means that, because that's not relevant. In the grand scheme of things, over a long period of time, when you talk trillions of dollars of investments, you're not gonna have, the media industry is just not gonna cut it. It's going to be one of those three. Again, defense, energy, and transport. Now, there's a couple of caveats there. Of course, you could say, well, I mean, defense, yeah, but I mean, what should I buy Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman? Is that what you're talking about? And what I'm saying is, look, whatever, like, it's kind of like religion, right? You have to make a choice once and for all whether you want to be religious or not. And I think once you're religious, which exact religion you follow and how you follow it is not even that important. But religious is, you are, and this coming back to Pascal's wager, look, it's fine to believe in God. You can name that God whatever you want. It's not that important whether you're Christian or Muslim or Buddhist. But believe. If you're not a believer, you're going to end up in a purposeless, undefined, uninteresting structure for your life, which, the data actually proves. I mean, if you take the urban centers of today's modern cities, they're full of, stacked up people with nowhere to belong to. Now they're proud of that. So like, I don't belong to anywhere. That's why I'm in New York City or Berlin or London. But of course, in in practice, these are empty souls that look to divert themselves often with, narcotics and things like that. So there's really not that much to look for. Versus spirituality in a form of being interested in something, of pursuing a goal, of having purpose. Even if you have to fool yourself into it, this is what Pascal said, like, fool yourself, it's fine. It doesn't matter. You're going to have more fun on earth. And if for some reason, for some non-zero probabilistic reason, actually, it turns out that there is, the day of judgment actually happens, and you are going to be judged by the way you lived. And if you lived according to the scripture, you will actually go to heaven. Well, even better, right? But the inverse is really bad. Imagine if you actually wasted your life away, and then the day of judgment, and then next thing you know, you're in hell. That's not fun for eternity. Now, of course, this is satirical and not taking this literally, but I think the symbolic reasoning here is pretty powerful, in my opinion. It's pretty powerful because it just means, look, obsess about like bringing lower cost, higher values, cleaner, more scalable energy to the world. That's fine. What's wrong with that? And obsess about it. Like, really believe in it and invest accordingly. And, it will help you navigate through the labyrinth of possibilities, of options, of all the possible things you can read and learn, and all kinds of things that you could do in principle on this journey. It will just help you navigate. The same way, if you just start as a freshman at a university like Berkeley, or Michigan, or some large public university with all these options, all these possibilities to learn this and learn that, and what if you just narrow it down, focus on very few specific things, specific classes, and then iterate around that particular purpose, lower cost energy, you will end up in a good place. So to summarize, I think Pascal's wager is a very good sort of life lesson for people in general to guide their journey of how they should invest their capital, whether it's human capital or monetary capital. Believe in something, and we believe that the three religions of capital investments, if you will, to use the analogy, is energy, transport, and defense. And it's always the same thing. No matter what the world brings, people will want lower cost, safer, cleaner, and more scalable. Thank you.